Hi everybody, Steve here at Forest Lawn in the Hollywood Hills, and today's video, if I can find this person's gravesite, was suggested by On the Go with JoJo. Now it's someone that I was planning to visit anyway, and I've just been waiting and waiting for a photo to appear on his Find a Grave memorial page, and that doesn't seem to be happening. He died, I think, about 2 years ago now. His Find a Grave memorial page does have the location and a GPS, so I'm going to see if it's in the right place. I'm going to give it a try. I know it's going to be really hot, so I brought my umbrella. Someone else suggested that I bring an umbrella on these hot days. The temperature on my car says that it's 92 degrees right now. No wind and really hot. It's still summer. So I'm going to get my umbrella out. I'm going to find his section and see if I can find his gravesite and add a photo to his Find a Grave memorial page. So let's go see if we can find it today. Since there was no photo on his Find a Grave memorial page, I just assumed that there was no headstone. He was homeless and he died broke, and an anonymous donor paid for his funeral expenses. But without a photo on Find a Grave, I just assumed it was an unmarked grave, but I thought I would come at least and check out the unmarked grave. Well, to my surprise, there's a really beautiful headstone, and it doesn't really look like it's been there for long, although he only died in 2019, so maybe it's still nice because it really hasn't been that long. And I walked right to it. I parked right here at this intersection, and you might recognize this. There's my car there. Right behind that tree up the hill is where Ricky Nelson and the Nelson family is laid to rest. And Christopher Lloyd Dennis is laid to rest right here between me and that tree there. So let's walk over and I'll show you his gravesite. Now if I can remember where I found it. Oh, here it is. It's very bright and new. It's right here. But here he is, Christopher Lloyd Dennis. He was born June 16th, 1967, died November 2nd, 2019, and his epitaph reads, Hollywood Superman who brought smiles to the millions of tourists. And he sure did. I met him once on Hollywood Blvd. I think he was in one of my videos. I'll have to go back and see if I can find it. Let me pan around so you can see the cemetery from his gravesite. I never really had thought about, all the people who work in costume on Hollywood Blvd. They work for tips, and usually if you want a photo with them, then they, ask for a donation or a tip, and that's how they make their living. Apparently he was homeless, living in the San Fernando Valley, which is where we are now. This is the other side of the hill from Hollywood. Hollywood is right on the other side of that hill there. Let me go get in the shade of this oak tree, or I'm not sure if this is an oak tree, but whatever kind of a tree is, it's very nice and shady. Set my umbrella down for a second and tell you a little bit more about him. Without the GPS, I wouldn't have known where it was, but that really helped a lot. And this is like a really prime location. Look at the view from here. This was not an inexpensive plot. The donor was very generous and gave him one of the best locations here in the cemetery. That's the Courts of Remembrance mausoleum down below. And the front gate is that direction. Now I think I've only added a photo to a Find a Grave memorial page while I was in the cemetery once before. I'm not sure if the GPS or the cell coverage is strong enough to upload the photo, but maybe if it doesn't do it here, it'll do it once I'm on the road or at home. So we'll see. I'll check it when I get home just to see if it's been uploaded. But it's a really beautiful headstone, and I'm glad that I'm able to share it with everyone on Find a Grave and also on this video. So he was only 52 years old when he died in Van Nuys, California, which is here in the San Fernando Valley. And apparently, because he was homeless, I don't know if it was a cold night or what, but his body was found trapped partially inside and partially outside of a clothing donation bin in one of the shopping centers there in Van Nuys. I'm guessing he was trapped and maybe suffocated. I'm not sure exactly, but it was just one of those weird freak accidents that happen sometimes. Now, if you've never been to Hollywood and Hollywood Blvd and never met him in person, you might have seen him on TV if you watched Jimmy Kimmel Live. Apparently, he was a frequent guest on that show. He also had a documentary made about him called The Kid, Adventures of Hollywood Superman. And he really did look a lot like Christopher Reeve. So I guess he was really born to be that character, embody Superman on Hollywood Blvd, and he actually became famous for doing that. It's kind of bizarre to think that actor Christopher Reeve, who played Superman in the movies, also died as a result of a freak accident. And it was always a little bit surreal to see his impersonator, Lloyd Dennis, standing at his star on Hollywood Boulevard. In Hollywood, the line between fantasy and reality is often a very thin one. And his Find a Grave memorial page says that he was buried in full costume as Superman, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? And I also want to mention, I don't know, I'm sure many of you who watch this channel also watch Scott Michael's Dearly Departed YouTube channel, and I honestly can't remember if that is where I first heard about how he died. But a while back, Scott did do a video about Christopher Dennis, and he actually went to the location, the parking lot, where Dennis passed away, and I think he showed the donation box where it happened. So if you haven't seen that video yet, you might want to go check that out. If you want to know a little bit more about him, check out Scott's video as well. So this is one of those stories that had both a sad ending and kind of a happy ending in a way. I mean, he could have been buried in an unmarked grave somewhere and no one would have ever thought about him again. But here he is in one of the most famous cemeteries in the world, in one of the best locations, surrounded by celebrities that I'm sure he aspired to become one day, and having a very generous sponsor pay for this beautiful gravesite. So that's a happy ending in a way to a sad story. This week I want to thank my newest Patreon supporter, Robert Jaskula. Thank you so much, Robert, for your donation to my channel. I really appreciate it. So as always, thanks for joining me today on this trip to the cemetery, and I hope to see you all next time.